Hey, it's a face for radio with take three on. Excuse the noise of my squeaky chair, but take three on updates for on the Woodinville whiskey small batch bourbon whiskey barreling and aging at home. It's about midnight at home. The only time that I can comfortably record something without the kids interrupting, like 6, 7 times. So it's only taken me 3 tries. Anyway, uh, this is where I'm trying to get to be, right? I'm trying to get here. Let's just say, at least in color, nosing, taste on the on the palate. This is Russell's Reserve single barrel, not a store pick, but it is 55% ABV, and so is this White Dog from Woodinville. Possibly aged at 7 or more years, but I like it. It's good stuff. It's a rebottling, like I might have mentioned already. So it's supposed to be aging 8 to 10 times faster than if it was barreled at a 53-gallon cask. So it's been over 3 months, right? 3 times, let's just lowball it at 24 months. So this is supposed to be the equivalent of a 2-year age bourbon. Okay, so I'm not gonna nose and taste it because I've already done it for the last 2 takes, and I'm gonna tell you, boy, does this really resemble Scotch whiskey to me right now. So we're kind of going away from that tequila vodka combination profile to now very much Scotch whiskey. So, what does that mean? I don't know, but it's very butterscotchy on the palate. I mean, on the nose, very butterscotchy, fruity. Maybe it just even kind of malty. Bourbons do often include malted barley, but a very small amount compared to the 51 or more percent of corn and likely rye mixed in, and then just some of that malted barley. Well, this really, to me, comes off as like a classic Highland single malt, and it's very interesting to me because some of my thoughts during this process, which I'll get into some more in a minute, has been really sort of cementing more and more in my mind that I believe that in the scheme of things, bourbon or bourbon-like whiskeys, I should say, especially in the process that requires aging in new charred oak barrels, is probably the superior whiskey of the varieties that are out there. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get killed on the internet for saying that, or also saved by others that might agree, because in Scotland and perhaps in Ireland, I'm not sure, right? It's required to be Scotch distillates are required to be aged in used barrels, and so most of the time, lately at least, they've been getting their barrels from bourbon makers in the U.S. because by law can't be aged in new barrels, and even there are critics out there that say, "Oh, when Scotch is aged in new charred oak, oh, it tastes like bourbon," and then they don't like it because they're very used to and adore their Scotch, and that's great. But this is bourbon in here, and what's equivalent to about a 2-year at a low ball. But if we were to say 6 months or 3 months times 10, which the instructions say 8 to 10 times faster than in a 53-gallon barrel, well, then it's 30 months and you're looking at 2.5 years. So very close to that minimum Scotch aging requirement of three years in a day. And it is very butterscotchy, fruity, on the nose, honey. It's just. I mean, I have Scotch. I love Scotch. Just no, not just the same, but I like Scotch a lot. But if I am to be honest, then I feel like bourbon is the superior one of the two, mainly because of the basically the type of casks that are being used, and climates and pressure, temperatures, and at play, maybe yeast too. I don't know, but I probably attribute most of the qualities coming out of the wood, um, for the quality of whiskey you're getting. And so the thing is too is that just hearing about how Texas whiskeys, like bourbon like whiskeys coming out of Texas, are starting to really reveal that because of the extreme heat that Texas experiences, that they can age bourbon basically almost kind of quicker than Kentucky can, so like a 2-year aged, like Iron Root. I still need to pick up a Harbinger expression, but they can only, they don't really have to age their bourbon for more than 2 years before it tastes something like this coming out of Kentucky after being aged for 7 years, right? And so like, for me, it's just more and more of this understanding that it's the interaction between distillate and the wood, with the influence of temperature and maybe, yeah, like pressure and so whatever you want to, sea level, blah, 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 who knows. But so for me, it's the properties in the wood I think that I'm really after. And so some people aren't, maybe not really after that, but who knows. Like, so we're not quite even here yet at all, you can tell, in terms of color. And so like I said, this is supposed to be 7 years, so I might have to wait another 3 months to age this to get there. And I like this. Actually, to be honest, I like this because I do like Scotch too, but it's just oddly reminding me a lot of Scotch, even though this is supposed to be 51% corn, or maybe more than that. Low entry proof, but lots of Scotch don't actually exceed 55% too, being barreled. Here's an example that I have on my, this is supposed to be a cleaned up bar because I'm on a special diet. I'm on keto and I'm not supposed to be reminded I can have any whiskey that I feel like having. Here we go. Yeah, it's right there. This is an independent bottling of Blair Ethol, 11 years old, unchill filtered, uncolored, 55.9%. And I would probably even compare these two, although this is aged 11 years, but again, we're talking about used oak, right? And probably a lot of the properties that the wood gives out had already been extracted to go into something like this before it went to house and age something like this. Pull out the bottle just to demonstrate. Bam. I'm not doing this to, yeah, oh my gosh. This is the first time I looked at it. It's dang near identical. And I'm not saying like, oh, this is, inferior compared to this. No, not at all. I mean, preference-wise, yeah, I'll probably sip on it. I mean, you could look at the bottle, but I've only had this too since January. It's February now, right? So I still like the flavor profile better in a bourbon, and for the most part, a classic Kentucky bourbon. But these are both around 55%, non-chill filtered, uncolored, aged maybe 7 more years. This is aged 11 years. And I like this. I like this bottle. I like this Scotch. But this is what's reminding me of that. So I'm just trying to maybe just get a point out there. I don't know, just for thought. Just for thought. Anyway, would I recommend this kit? I got it for $30 off Craigslist. Yeah, at that price point, yeah. I think it retails for $150. You do get 2 full bottles of bourbon to age and have fun with. And if you want to see out there, you know, what's out there in terms of this kit, to see what I'm talking about, was it worth $150? I don't know, but I'm excited to just age it a little bit longer, because I think then if I reach, let's say 5 months from now, I may have something that's more like this after 5 more months. And if that indeed does happen, I'd be very happy. And I am liking this as it is now. I'm going to set the rest of that down, but I want this more so than I want this. It's just been interesting. Anyway, so that's the update. Sorry it took so long. I have 2 small kids that will interrupt everything I do downstairs in my office, and it's midnight, and I'm recording this while they're all asleep so that I can put it out there. Thanks for the viewer that posted a comment asking, hey, where's the update on that? So here it is. It's just been a slow aging so far, really getting away from that vodka tequila profile, and now actually going, oddly enough, to scotch. Hopefully we'll get there one day. And so hope you enjoyed it. Catch me on the next one. It's gonna be a while, but I'm still just kind of slowly pushing out bourbon reviews, whiskey reviews. Check out the series Big Uns, where I'm reviewing unchill filtered, uncut, uncolored whiskeys. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.